The most unrealistic part of this movie is how so many people answer unknown phone numbers, especially the teenagers. I mean, I don't even answer my phone when it's people I know. Like, if it ain't important, text me.
I'm back at it.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Infinite Repeat. I'm your host, Nate. I'm here to review the new Scream movie, and hopefully the last one.
Do you think it's over, Sydney? Welcome home, Sydney. Hello, Sydney. It's an honor.
There are so many ways this movie could have gone wrong. I mean, it's the second reboot / sequel, or requel as this movie likes to call it, after the trilogy. And we've had a couple of meta commentary movies like The New Matrix, Don't Look Up, and now this movie, Scream 5. But unlike those movies, this movie actually works with the meta commentary, because Scream doesn't take itself seriously, and it really never has. It's always had its ridiculous and over-the-top characters, and that's always been the charm of Scream, pointing out the ridiculous, stereotypical moments in horror movies. But that doesn't mean it doesn't get a little annoying at some points. Like, there's a scene where all the characters have to sit down and talk about the new rules and point out the problems with horror movies and sequels and reboots, and this is where the writers also This is where the writers actually poke fun of themselves and kind of explain why this movie doesn't have Scream 5 in the title, which I did really like and thought it was funny, but later on the movie gets a little too much. Like, for example, there's a few jump scares in this movie, but even those felt purposeful, like they're not just cheap jump scares, like they were used to build up tension. But I can easily see how some people might be annoyed by those. Even the guy next to me was kind of annoyed by them. Like, at one point in the movie, there'll be a long take where characters just walking through their house and oblivious to what's happening and opening and closing doors, and you're just kind of waiting for Ghostface to pop out, but again, it feels like it's purposeful. It's like, hey, I get it, you're making a movie, just like Ghostface. Speaking of Ghostface, he is targeting the new cast in this movie, because in some shape or form, most of them are related to previous characters from the other movies.
This is your life now, which means that whoever this is going to keep coming for you.
There's certain rules to surviving.
The attacks were all on people related to the original killers.
It always goes back to the beginning. And I like the new cast for the most part. I don't think they're as good as the cast from Scream 4, but they're still pretty good. Particularly the new protagonists, Samantha and Tara Carpenter, sisters, and Sam, the older sister, has a secret that Ghostface exploits throughout this movie. But I don't want to reveal what that is just yet, but I'll talk about it later.
Hello, Samantha.
Who is this?
Someone who knows your little secret.
And we can't forget about the old cast. Sydney, Gail, and Dewey are also back, but they don't hold the spotlight in this movie. In fact, Sydney and Gail don't really show up until the later half of the movie, which might be a negative for some, but I think it works out for this movie because, as this movie points out, this is a passing of a torch from the old generation to the new. But that doesn't mean our old generation doesn't get to throw hands in this movie, and they do. I mean, Sydney's has always been down to scrap with Ghostface. Speaking of which, Ghostface in this movie is a straight-up ninja, straight Assassin's Creed, dual-wielding blades. And that's not even a joke, by the way. He does dual-wield knives at one point in this movie, and it's pretty sick, not gonna lie. When's that Ghostface toy coming out? I love all the kills in this movie, and some are even in broad daylight, right before the cops show up too, and then Ghostface just disappears without anyone seeing him, which is kind of ridiculous. Like, how does no one see this guy in broad daylight when they know there's a killer around? But I'll let it slide. The bloodlust part of my body just wants to see kills sometimes, so. The phone calls are great too, Roger Jackson reprising his voice once again. It's always fun seeing the killer mess with the heads of the protagonists. It gets to the point where everyone starts accusing each other of being the killer, and it's really funny. Like, that's what you would do in this situation, like, especially when these guys grown up in this city that this has happened the 5th time now. But it gets to the point where like why are you guys friends with each other if you think that any of you could be the killer that easily?
You've got bruises.
It's from football practice.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean, we live in a world where not only horror movies are super popular, but also serial killer documentaries that I don't watch, but I know a lot of friends that do. I mean, we all have that one coworker, right, that you think might snap or go crazy any minute.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Speaking of going crazy, let's talk about the ending, which I'm not going to completely spoil, but I did want to talk about some minor spoilers, one big spoiler and one minor spoiler. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, you might want to jump to this part of the video. So 2 big spoiler things I wanted to talk about. One, the end of this movie actually takes place where the end of the first movie takes place, at the big party, the house of one of our original killers, Stu. And this
Just put a smile on my face.
I thought this was a great reveal, and that's because Ghostface again wants to take things back to the beginning, because we find out pretty early on that our new protagonist Sam is actually the daughter of Billy Loomis, the second killer in the original movie. And if you've been wondering why I titled this video Scream, hopefully the last, it's because of this ending. After these reveals, I don't know where the writers are going to be able to go after this, or what more they can pull out of their asses after literally every sequel we've had characters show up being related to previous characters. I mean, what else are we going to do? We're going to have Sydney's kids be the killers next? So please, let this be the last Scream movie. But hey, it's Hollywood. I'm sure they'll find a way to bring this back. But overall, I really did enjoy this movie. Thought it was really fun, stupid fun, but fun. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as Scream 4. If they really wanted, that could have been the last movie. But check this out if you're a Scream fan at all. I give this movie a 4 out of 5. And thanks for checking out my channel once again. Let me know what you think of this movie down in the comments. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel for more Scream reviews in the future, and other content as well. Once again, this is Infinite Repeat. I've been Nate. Stay up.